So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of the Trading Every Player Rebuild series, and today it's going to be the San Antonio Spurs. As I'm sure many of you are aware, the San Antonio Spurs are led by a once-in-a-generational talent in Victor Wembanyama. He was taken first overall in the 2023 NBA Draft, and he is going to be the face of another team because we're not going to get to use him today. The way these videos work is very, very simple. Basically, before we go ahead and kick year one off, we have to trade away every single player who is currently on this Spurs team. Of course, we'll have no say in any of the trades whatsoever, and by the end of this video, the goal is to bring San Antonio a championship. Now, I'm sure many of you are very familiar with this series. In the Curry era rebuilds, we had been bouncing back and forth between the two up until the trade deadline, which took up about 2 weeks of videos, which is pretty much the first time I have ever been able to say that. So I will read you off just the teams that are remaining, the teams that we have not done as of now after this video. In the East, it's the Atlanta Hawks and the Brooklyn Nets, and in the West, it's the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trail Blazers. That is it for this series. We have a couple Curry rebuilds left as well, but I'm really looking for some series or rebuild ideas from you guys. So let me hear everything you guys got for me down below in the comment section. I'll let you guys know I like to forecast a little bit, just kind of moving month to month on what I think are going to be kind of the majority of the videos you see on a daily basis. And we're getting close to the point. We're probably about 3 to 4 weeks away before I can kick off the off-season rebuilds. I tend to do that around every March once some teams start getting eliminated. And then, of course, once the playoffs end for certain teams, we continue to do those. So that's what's kind of on the horizon, but we will definitely need some things to fill it in between now and then. So let me hear anything you guys got for me down below in the comment section. All right, man, it is good to be back doing this series. It is always one of my favorite. I know we only have about 4 of them left after this, but let's make the most of them and let's get into this one. As I touched on a little bit in the intro, for those of you who have been watching this series so far throughout it, I'm sure you're all very familiar with the concept and the way that things work. If you are not, this is your first time or you just need a little refresher, we obviously do not use start today. We are at the beginning of the 2024-2025 NBA season. That is for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, it doesn't make much sense for me to trade away an entire team after being 40, 50 some odd games into the season. And then second, and maybe more importantly, if I use start today right now, the trade deadline is technically over, so I couldn't trade anybody anyways. I know that is a very logical explanation that most of you probably already comprehend, but there is always at least a few people who simply cannot grasp it. So glad we're all on the same page there. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about this Spurs roster that obviously is now updated to have a guy like De'Aaron Fox who's going to bring hopefully a pretty good return. But me trading away Victor Wembanyama and not really having any say in it is going to be terribly unfortunate for me here today. So I guess we will just rip the Band-Aid off, trade away one of the best players in the world who, of course, is still only 20 years old. 20 years old. Okay. 3 trade offers is actually not bad. You know, I like to have more just because it gives me a little bit more variety, but quite honestly, I'm sure the players we're being offered are not players I'm typically able to trade for anyways. So I'm going to close my eyes, as I always do for these. I am not going to get to choose which one of them. Of course, on paper, we are likely going to be losing any of these trades, if you will, because we're moving on from the best player in the deal. All right, 3 different trade offers. Eyes are closed. Let's scroll through these. Hopefully land on, I don't know, I guess the best one. And we'll stop right about now. It is going to give me Evan Mobley and Ty Jerome here from the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's not bad. I guess it's just kind of is what it is. If I'm being honest with you, I actually probably would have taken the other two just because I get, 2 long-term players. Ty Jerome's been fantastic this year for Cleveland, but he is an expiring free agent, and I'm almost certainly going to lose him for nothing. And again, Evan Mobley's really good and will be a key piece throughout this rebuild, but, he's not Wemby. Something I am curious about is that I moved De'Aaron Fox to the point guard spot. Okay, that overall doesn't really change. So we'll just leave him listed as a shooting guard there, playing next to Chris Paul in real life as a backcourt. He probably will be playing some of the two. Even if he's a bit undersized. Okay, 22 offers for De'Aaron Fox, which of course is nice to see. Again, a little bit of variety in here, hopefully getting ourselves a pretty good return. As you can see, we're scrolling through, and we'll stop right about now. It is going to be Anthony Simons and Robert Williams from the Portland Trail Blazers. Okay, certainly not my first choice. Would have loved Tyrese Maxey or Darius Garland, hell, even Derek White or Trae Young. Yeah, that's not great. We actually probably got one of the worst returns, and I'm not going to sit here and say that Simons and Rob Will are absolutely terrible, because that just wouldn't be true, and I don't believe it, but I certainly would have taken some of the other trade packages. All right, Devin Vassell is going to be up next, slowly but surely making our way through this list. Eventually, we, of course, will double up just to make this go a little bit quicker, but got 22 offers here for Vassell, and hoping to get something good, because I haven't loved the first 2 returns, considering what some of the offers were elsewhere. All right, what we're going to do right now is we're going to stop, and my eyes are still closed, and we're actually going to go one to the left. That is going to bring me, oh boy, Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, or it would have been Rudy Gobert. All right. I mean, I don't love having Rudy Gobert in these videos anyways. Wait, did that have a first round pick in it? No, it had Sandro. Okay, I was going to say that would have really been unfortunate. Next up on the list is going to be Chris Paul. If I actually combine him with Castle, do I have enough offers to make this worth it? All right, I think 9 is enough, and I say that because they're together only making about 19 million, which I think is, you know, a relatively okay number compared to the 9 million and 10 million respectively they would have been making if I traded them separately. So I don't know. I don't know if this is enough offers. If you guys, you know, don't enjoy when I combine players like this, just let me know. And stop. Shaedon Sharpe, Donovan Clingan from the Portland Trailblazers. Another deal with Portland. The unfortunate part about this is that you can see we are giving up our unprotected first-round pick this year, which sucks because, of course, I did not actually include that in the deal. That would be the CPU's doing. Okay, now, I don't think we're going to be a terrible team this season, but having our first-round pick still would have been really, really nice. And again, I'm sure many of you are aware of this, but I don't turn off previously traded draft picks for this. So every pick that the Spurs have either traded away or received in real life are actually going to be in here, and I will actually have access to them. Again, I'm sure you're all pretty familiar with that. Just wanted to point it out. All right, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sohan could be the next duo. Again, it just moves a little quicker when I kind of pair them up like this. These intros already, actually, only 7. All right, we'll do Barnes alone. Actually, wait a minute. I'm going to try to get a little cheesy right now because I think Barnes might go up in the overall department if I move him to small forward. Okay, it's only 1, but you never know. Sometimes there's something out there. When you move a guy, it goes up 1 overall. I'm not saying it's a perfect formula. It's not a perfect science, but I think we should be able to get something decent here. So, 24 offers for Harrison Barnes right now. I can't really think positionally off the top of my head what our biggest need is right now. Is it point guard? We have Ty Jerome. I know that. Stop. Rui Hachimura from the Los Angeles Lakers. We're giving up a second-round pick. You know, we get a similar contract, a little bit younger. That's fine. All right, making our way through this list slowly but surely. Jeremy Sohan, will do him and Charles Bassey. Now we're certainly into the territory where it's not going to hurt us too much if we double up. You got 11 different offers here for these two. And again, just hoping to get some quality role players here in return. So, 3, 2, and 1. That's going to give me Cason Wallace and Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder. I actually don't hate that trade at all. That actually might be one of our better value trades so far. I mean, again, it's not a perfect science, but I think I can live with that return considering what some of the alternatives probably were. All right, Keldon Johnson, we're going to move him right now along with Julian Champagne's on this team, right? He has to be, right? He has to be. All right, I know we're slowly getting to the bottom of the list again, just to remind you guys, I'm sure you're all aware of it, but we do not trade the two-way players or the players that are currently in the G League. Again, I'm sure you're all, you know, of knowledge of that, but just wanted to point it out. Stop. Aaron Nesmith, TJ McConnell from the Indiana Pacers. We also are giving up another future first-round pick, which, as I'm sure many of you are aware, certainly not my favorite thing to do in these rebuilds. Okay, Malachi Branham, him and Blake Wesley. And then that actually should be it. I believe it is. Again, we don't touch the two-way guys. So if Branham and Wesley are the last two, again, I will certainly confirm that after this, but should be in a pretty good spot. 11 offers here. Stop. Drew Eubanks, Chris Dunn from the Los Angeles Clippers. All right, welcome to San Antonio. Let me go through the list. Let me just make sure that everybody that started out this video as a San Antonio Spur is no longer with this team. That, of course, is, you know, a requirement right now. So I think we're good. Again, we are not allowed to make any other moves until the first offseason, so we have to be content with, you know, the guys we have on this roster, and it is likely going to require me to move some positions around as well. So I'll see you guys with this rotation. We went ahead and moved around a few different positions, and I have gone ahead and finalized the 10-man rotation the way I think it will work best. Now, something to note, we of course do not have our first-round pick this year. Would that have changed a lot about this rotation if we did have it? Maybe 1 or 2 things, but ultimately, my main goal right now is to develop this team as much as possible. You know, I look at it like this. That first-round pick is kind of a sunk cost at this point. I can't really do anything about it. I kind of just have to deal with it and move forward. So this is how the rotation is going to work. I would not say the highest overall players are in the starting lineup 100%. It is just the way I think it is going to work best for the long-term picture of this rebuild. Anthony Simon starting here at the 1. I am playing Cason Wallace at my starting shooting guard spot. Based off potential, I have him as the highest. And if you're wondering where Shaedon Sharpe is, well, I moved him to the 3. So they'll all be together here. You got Evan Mobley starting at the 4 and then Robert Williams as my 5. I actually debated a little bit between, you know, starting him or potentially moving moving Donovan Clingan into that starting lineup. Decided to go with Rob Will just because, again, I do want to develop Clingan, as much as I possibly can, but I also am not trying to tank or anything like that. So Rob Will gets the nod. Ty Jerome will be my sixth man off the bench. It was a pretty tough decision between him and TJ McConnell. Ultimately, Ty Jerome will hit unrestricted free agency and likely leave our team this offseason, but for a year that I'm not trying to lose games intentionally, we're going to play the best players the most minutes. Got Rui Hachimura here. He's actually playing the backup 4. Aaron Nesmith at the backup 3. Donovan Clingan will be the backup behind Robert Williams, and finally Grayson Allen at the backup shooting guard spot. So again, TJ McConnell certainly deserves minutes in an NBA rotation. It's unfortunate. I just don't need 3-point guards here in this unrealistic non-injury setting rebuild. Royce O'Neal, same thing. Jalen Williams, Drew Eubanks, all probably deserving of at least a few minutes off the bench, but it's just not the situation we have found ourselves in today. So this is how it's going to work. I'm sure things will look different heading into year 2, but these are the 10 guys we're going with for now. And yeah, I'm hoping we're pretty good because, again, don't have our first round pick. So I'll see you guys at the end of year number 1. All things considered, the first season here in San Antonio was not too bad. We go 46-36, which, I don't know, the West is loaded. Maybe a playoff spot, maybe a play-in spot. We'll find out together. Steph Curry, he is your MVP. Interesting. At the age of 37, putting up one of his best seasons, of all time. I mean, that's just insane. Alex Sarr does win Rookie of the Year. You got RJ Barrett, for some reason, coming off the bench in Toronto. A tanking Raptors team at that. Not really sure why he's off the bench, but... You know what I didn't realize? When I traded Wemby, it was to the Cavs, who, are already super elite. I'm not sure what their final record's going to be. We'll check it in a sec. But, yeah, they're going to be a problem. I know they're not in our conference, but as a potential finals matchup in year 2 or year 3, that's going to be a big, big pain in the ass. Case and Wallace does win Most Improved, so you know what? I guess I'll take that. Again, I'd like to see those shooting splits go up a little bit, but not bad for a second-year player. Second-year player? Yeah, okay. I thought I was losing it for a sec. Trae Young, Clutch Player of the Year, and then Steve Kerr, 63 wins over there in Golden State. I guess a full year of Steph and Jimmy Butler together ended up being pretty good. Let's take a look at the full standings right now. We are in the play-in. You can see it right here. If we, end up winning... Wait. What? Why are there only 3 playing? You know what? 2K is broken. Here's a full look at the Western Conference. Funny, just considering how good the Rockets have been in real life. And then here's a look at the East. Cavs actually only win 50 games. How are they doing the starting 5? I'm just curious. Okay, they're playing Wemby at the 4 next to Jarrett Allen, which, makes some sense. I'm surprised they are that low. All right, numbers across the board. Anthony Simons led us in the scoring department. Evan Mobley behind him. You got Shaden Sharp, Ty Jerome, Rob Will, Wallace, Hachimura, Nesmith, Allen, and then Clingan. Led in rebounds by Mr. Robert Williams, and Anthony Simons at about 4.5 assists a game was the leader for this team. All right, we are in the play-in, whether 2K wants to acknowledge it or not. We are taking on the Denver Nuggets here. We win this one, we are the 7th seed. If we lose it, we will face the winner of 9v10. So let's see. We end up losing. So we are facing the winner of Phoenix and Sacramento. If we win this one against the Suns, we will be the 8th seed. And yeah, Suns haven't made a lot of moves. This is a interesting spot. Jakob Poeltl is actually a really nice addition. Not really sure how they swung that, but they did, and good for you. And we win. So we are taking on the Warriors, who won 63 games, take home the 1 seed here. Jimmy Butler also added John Collins. Looks like they maybe traded Draymond for John Collins. Okay, interesting decision. Nonetheless, let's see what happens here. Split the first 2 in Golden State. Lose game 3 at home. Do win game 4. Lose game 5. End up getting bounced in 6. Okay. Not an ideal ending, but it was a pretty good season, all things considered. We had a completely new roster that, of course, we had 0 say in, so I'll take it. It is a rematch of the 2022 Finals, and as a Celtics fan, I am already having nightmares. Celtics had a little revenge. Jason Tatum. Holy shit. That's what I'm fucking talking about, baby. Finals MVP. Okay, now it is the offseason. We have pretty much full control, in terms of doing whatever we want outside of trading for any guys that started out this video of San Antonio Spurs. I wonder if there's a Wemby trade out there I can make. All right, man. Let's see. Draft lottery. We're not going to be in it. We were in the playoffs, and obviously our pick was traded. I forget which deal that was for, but nonetheless, we don't have it. We are projected to have the Atlanta Hawks pick at number 11. That, of course, dating back to the DeJounte Murray trade, and I know for a that jumped to number 3. Holy shit, we got a little lucky there. Our pick is sitting at number 21. That went to Portland. You got to remember, that was 3 stars in value at that time as well. And we got really, really lucky in this lottery right here. What a really big win. Popovich decided not to retire. I think is he approaching his 80th birthday? He must be pretty close. I have a couple different things I can do with this, obviously. I think first and foremost, I would be remiss if I did not consider at least a few different trade offers. I'm not going to force the issue and completely just give up on the pick because there are some talented players I can draft, but we have a lot of depth right now and a lot of contracts that are certainly movable. So I'm going to consider a few potential trade packages, and if not, I'll just see you guys in the 2025 draft. Oh, wow. Okay, well, we made a big trade. It did not include the third overall pick, but it did land me a huge upgrade at my center spot. I understand people get a little hesitant when I trade for Şengün. It happens from time to time because he's really young, he's really good, and I do it a decent amount. But it has been a while, especially in this series, since I've gone out and traded for him, and we just made a move that landed us him. And I think this is a really good front court pairing. You got a defensive specialist in Mobley, and you got a guy like a baby Jokic in Şengün. So I was going to throw in the third overall pick as well, and then it was kind of trending to the point where I was like, hey, maybe this isn't necessary. And I gave a future pick swap in 2028 with the Celtics, and just like that, we got ourselves Alper and Şengün. So we still have the third overall pick, right? And I think that is still a really valuable asset, and my plan as of now is to keep it and just see who's sitting there for us, because there's a lot of talented players at the top of this draft. Cooper Flagg goes number 1 to the Chicago Bulls, and then Liam McNeely goes number 2 to the Utah Jazz. Okay. I'm thinking it has to be right now between Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. I'm leaning Bailey maybe just a bit. I think I got Dylan Harper in a rebuild the other day. So Ace Bailey, how about you be my guy here today? Freak athlete, obviously, and super excited to see what he can bring. 78 overall. Whether I start him in Case and Wallace is still up in the air, but everybody here will be brought back. I'm not going to qualify Harrison Ingram, and I think we don't have any major free agents. I know, obviously, that sitting over here, who we're probably not going to be able to re-sign, is going to be Ty Jerome. Just don't really have the money, don't have the bird rights, and he deserves a payday, quite honestly. So we're going to have to kind of relook and refocus the backup point guard spot. Of course, we did go ahead and move on from TJ McConnell in that Şengün deal. So I think at this point, just kind of redefining the bench unit a little bit. I wouldn't mind maybe moving on from Grayson Allen as well. He's not really needed at this point, but potentially clearing out just a little bit here at the center spot, and then maybe a new backup point guard as well. So do we have any sort of money here? All right, so there's a couple players here I could have some interest in, but we also have some trade assets that I don't think would be the worst idea in the world to maybe just kind of glance and see what we could maybe acquire. So if I were to do Jalen Williams and, Drew Eubanks, or Grayson Allen and Jalen Williams, what are the point guard options here for me? Again, I'm probably not going to get like a star or anything like that, but somebody who's, young enough to the point where maybe they could contribute for the rest of this video. Wow, I can get Jakob Poeltl. I don't really need Jakob Poeltl, unfortunately, and there's really not a lot of point guards here that I am loving. Anyways, how about if I do Eubanks instead? Again, I'm not trying to get a superstar, just somebody who's, okay enough. And wow, that's a real offer. Mikal Bridges. Why are you willing to give me Mikal? I don't really need him at all, which is maybe almost unfortunate at this point. But all right, well, we are. I'm just trying to think of a way to logically make this work, because I like Shaedon Sharpe a lot. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that if you've watched enough of these rebuilds. I think it makes logical sense for us to start Ace Bailey and to have Case and Wallace move into the bench role. But I don't really know what I do with the Mikal Bridges here. I really don't. So I'm going to probably pass on that move, but there's a lot here. Well, you know what I could do? Because I also don't want to hinder the development of Ace Bailey, right? Who was that trade package? Was it Grayson Allen and Drew Eubanks? Was that it in a future first-round pick? I think it was. Yeah. And a future first from Atlanta in 27, which actually will likely be pretty valuable, but it's 2 years away. This isn't a 26 pick. It's a 27 pick. All right, you know what? I'm going to pull the trigger on this just because I think we're going to be a good competitive team next year. We're going to have Ace Bailey come off the bench, and then what I'm going to do is go ahead and slide Case and Wallace to the backup point guard spot. I know the overall goes down a couple. I'm not terribly worried about it. So, yeah, I guess that's a little risky because I think Ace Bailey is going to be really good, and I wasn't trying to hinder his development, but I think Bridges could be really impactful for a team next year that likely could be really, really good. So, again, I understand the risk, but I think it is very much worth it. We're going to move on from Jalen Williams at this point, just not really needed. If I can get a future first-round draft pick, or 2 of them, actually, from the Atlanta Hawks, thank you very much. All right, I'll see you guys at the start of year 2. Here's how things shook out for the year 2 rotation. Starting 5, not a lot of major surprises. Now, I will tell you something. I don't know if it's the system that Popovich is running or whatever it is about the script in this game, but if I auto-set this rotation, not only does it suggest that I start Case and Wallace over Anthony Simons. It also, weirdly enough, suggests I go ahead and start Donovan Clingan over Alperen Şengün. I know the minutes don't show it. It's very strange and it's weird. I don't know. We made a lot of moves this offseason, and I think they're all moves that are going to be a really, really big benefit to us down the line. Now, we made some risky decisions as well, but you know what, man? All of these videos are risky with the moves I make. Anthony Simons, Mikal Bridges, Shaden Sharp, Evan Mobley, Alperen Şengün are 1 through 5. Bench unit will be led by Case and Wallace. Ace Bailey is actually the lowest overall off the bench, but I'm not going to play our number 3 overall pick like 10, 12 minutes a night. That is just the perfect way to hinder his development, which I will certainly not be doing. Got Donovan Clingan behind him as well, Rui Hachimura in here, and then finally Aaron Nesmith rounding out this 10-man rotation. So I think this team could make a lot of noise this year. You know, are we the best team in the West? I don't know if I'd go that far, but we'll certainly be a playoff team this year, 100%. Well, I know we were last year, but you know what I mean. Top of the West, or at least near it, and maybe even contenders. I'll see you guys at the end of the second season here in San Antonio. What a crazy season out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He takes home the MVP award. More importantly for us here in San Antonio, we go 63-19. Is that the best record in the league? I'm not quite sure, but we'll find out together. But compliments to the chef there, SGA. That's an insane year. Cooper Flagg went number 1 overall to the Bulls, wins Rookie of the Year. Dalton Knecht coming off the bench for the Lakers is your 6th man. Wemby does win another DPOY. Rob Dillingham, most improved. Jalen Brunson, clutch player of the year. And yeah, guy's been doing it for longer than most. Mr. Greg Popovich, winning Coach of the Year for us here in 2026, I guess it would be at this point. Okay, we are the 1 seed. 1 game up on the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm surprised the Cavs are struggling this much, man. I mean, just look at this team. Okay, let's talk about some of the numbers real quick for our group. We didn't have a single guy really scoring, anything elite. We had a lot of guys score the ball, and we had a really well-balanced attack. So I'm excited to see what this playoff run can do. You guys are very much aware of my philosophy, though. If we're winning games, does not matter to me who does what. It is actually the same matchup for us here as it was last year in round 1, except we are the 1 seed this time. The Warriors are the 8 seed. So here goes nothing against Golden State. We quickly take a 2-0 lead. Also, just not losing games, I guess. We sweep them. Okay, now moving on to Minnesota here. Rob Dillingham, Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Precious Achiuwa, DeAndre Ayton. Okay, did they trade Julius Randle for DeAndre Ayton? Interesting decision when you have Rudy Gobert there as well. Nonetheless, let's see what happens here in the West semis. We do finally lose a game. We are up 3-1, however. They win another game and another game. Okay, thank God. Moving on to take on MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the rest of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Hartenstein, and old friend Jeremy Sohan, Clint Capella now here as well. This team's really good. They have a lot of high-quality depth and a lot of star power, so I'm pretty nervous, to be honest. We are 2-2 right now. We go down 3-2, and then we lose in Game 6, SGA, Western Conference Finals MVP. They're going up against the Orlando Magic in the finals. Thunder get it done. SGA won. Regular season MVP, Conference Finals MVP, and Finals MVP. Be a pretty good season. All right, it is time for the final offseason. I actually didn't even notice LeBron didn't retire last offseason. Typically he does after year 1, so surprise. Shit. Is it scummy for me to override his retirement? Is it? I was just going to sign Stauffer anyways. Technically, I'm getting a worse coach than Mike Stauffer, so if you're going to be pissed, I want to give Popovich a shot at one more ring. You can be mad at me for it. I'm not going to change it. That Atlanta pick is projected to be number 11 again, and it falls to 12 this time. So it doesn't shoot all the way up to number 3 this time around. It is what it is, though. So Popovich is under a $0 contract, which if that was like normal free agency, for players or whatever, I'd be a little concerned about or a little, annoyed, but it's fine. I don't really care what my head coach is making for money. It doesn't matter. Let's approach the draft. We have the 12th overall pick, and then we have three second-round picks this year. I don't really think I need any of these, quite honestly. Why this game makes it so goddamn hard to trade fucking draft picks is so beyond me, but we also actually got a first out of that. So, what do I want to do here? I have a lot of future second-round picks. Could I maybe include just like a bunch of these and see if I can maybe move up to like number 7 or number 8? Again, don't need anything super crazy, but if it's a possibility, I'd like to give it a go. Like, who's the 7th overall pick? It's going to be the Miami Heat. Okay, cool. Now, I don't know who I'm going to draft at 7. I don't know if they're going to play. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. I'm thinking Darius Cuff Jr. What's a position of need? I mean, really nothing, if I'm being honest with you. Maybe I draft Malik Thomas and play him at the backup small forward spot. Caleb Wilson also here. Yeah, there's just actually, I think, is Rui Hachimura a free agent? You know what? Maybe he is. I'll probably bring him back, but maybe I just draft Caleb Wilson as like an insurance policy. I don't know. Klingon and Walls both will be brought back on those options. Shaden Sharp will certainly be qualified. And as we approach a loaded free agency class, we certainly have a few names here that I would like to be able to retain. So Shaden Sharp, I'll actually, Miles Bridges is, or Mikal Bridges as well. Do not renounce Rui because I'll honestly probably still pay him. I think there is one more like somewhat major upgrade I'm looking to make. I don't know if it's going to be at what position. I haven't decided that yet, but I do think we're in a spot right now where we're close, right? We were in the West Finals, battled it out with a really, really good Thunder team, but maybe one more kind of somewhat major addition could be necessary. I'm taking a huge risk right now, or at least I'm trying. I'm attempting to trade for Cade Cunningham, and in that, I am attempting to trade both members of my starting backcourt. I understand that on paper, this might not be the best idea in the world, but I think we're at the point right now of this video, whoops, didn't mean to do that, that I believe anyways that Ace Bailey will be ready to take the next step next season. He was really good in his rookie season in the limited role he had, and if we're able to somehow land Cade Cunningham, I think it is clearly going to be worth it. Okay. I know I probably overpaid in terms of the stars and the value on paper, but Cade Cunningham is a legitimate game changer, and I think he's going to be a really big benefit to this group. So I do need to find myself a backup shooting guard. We're going to probably lack at that spot just a bit. Whoever we sign here is probably going to regress a little bit, but Kevin Huerter, I think, can get it done at the age of 27, playing 10 minutes a night. So a little more top heavy than the team was last year, but I think we're in a really good spot right now to compete with not only Thunder but the rest of the NBA in hopes of winning a championship. So I'll just see you guys at the start of year number 3. Final season in San Antonio. We got really close last year. We did. And I don't really know why I forced the issue so much. I'm not mad at the trade I made for Cade Cunningham, but obviously it was a huge splash and a blockbuster deal that puts me in a spot right now where I think we have the best 1 through 5 in the league. I do. I genuinely believe that. Now, are we locks to win the championship? That's not the case 100%. But I think we're going to be really good. Something I'm noticing immediately is I was correct in my assumption that Ace Bailey was going to have some nice development. He is probably a similar, if not exactly the same overall as Mikal Bridges was. And of course, Bridges and Simons were both included for Cade. So I'm not super mad at that at the end of the day. Shaden Sharp's developing quite nicely. And of course, still got the front court with Mobley and Şengün. Again, similar to last year, if I auto set this, it actually recommends I start Klingon over Şengün. Certainly not going to happen. It's just kind of weird. Case and Wallace will remain the 6th man. Klingon is right behind him. Aaron Nesmith bumped up a few minutes in the rotation. Hachimura is still here as well. And then we signed Kevin Huerter to play 10 minutes a night at the backup shooting guard spot. So, again, a little bit more star power now here with Cade. A little less elite depth, but I think that's a fair trade-off in hopes of pursuing a championship. I'll see you guys at the end of the final regular season. I don't know how many of you would consider the big blockbuster trade for Cade Cunningham, super risky. He's obviously the most talented player in the deal, and I think ultimately we made out pretty well for, one season anyways. And that risk worked out really well because we were actually really good. We were historically good. So good, in fact, we had by far the best record in NBA history at 78-4. I don't get 78-4 or better often, but when I do, I certainly like to take it in hopes I win a championship, because if not, it doesn't mean a fucking thing. Nikola Jokic, he is your MVP. Cameron Boozer wins Rookie of the Year. Sohan coming off the bench for the Thunder. Wemby wins a 3rd straight depoy. Reed Shepherd, most improved. Steph Curry at age 39. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've obviously done better than 78-4, but it is not every day that I'm able to achieve this, so I'm always pretty excited when I am, and hopefully we're able to get a championship, maybe matching up with the Cavs. You saw they just took the 1 seed there, I believe, for the first time in this video over there in the East. Really excited that we decided to, promote Ace Bailey into the starting 5. Looks like that decision has worked out well for us. And yeah, I mean, the big thing about this team is there's just not a lot of weaknesses across the board. So this is not a great first-round matchup, even with us having Şengün, but I don't really think if you win 78 games, you're allowed to be, really scared of anybody. So we are quickly sweeping the Rockets. We're moving on to Memphis in the West semis. And again, similar, they're a pretty talented group, but we're just so much better than everybody, and the math is certainly in our favor. So moving on to the Western Conference Finals, I would say without a doubt they have the best player in the series. Bam is a really fun addition next to Nikola Jokic. But again, we just, oh shit, didn't mean to do that. We are a lot better, in my opinion. Get to lose a playoff. Why do I speak? Up 3-1, and I swear to God, this game's listening to me when I say shit like that. It really is. And we are not going to be taking on the Cavs. It's going to be Trae Young, who is actually now a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. Damian Lillard is no more. They have replaced him with Trae Young, who, interesting decision. Both good three-point shooters. Okay. This isn't a fantastic, like, superstar core outside of Trey and Giannis, but there are certainly some quality players here. So this is not a walk in the park. I would say they have the best player in the series, but we are easily the better team. And as we head back to San Antonio for a potential closeout, I know I missed the gameplay in yesterday's video, and I got you guys today, I promise you. So looks like we're going to be running away with this one. It's a 30-point lead as we enter the fourth quarter. And wow. Blowout City, my friends. 40-point advantage. A bit of a belt-to-ass situation here in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. We are obviously on the verge of winning our first championship of this video, and something that I am super happy with. This was a really fun rebuild. I genuinely enjoy this. I mean, it's never super exciting, the idea of having to trade with Victor Wembanyama, who is easily one of the best players in the world, even though he's only 20, and because I don't get to use him a ton in rebuilds. But that's the challenge. That's the point of these videos. And obviously, this one ended up turning out to be a really big success. Easily the best record in NBA history, and we put together an unbelievably talented group. So we're going to be wrapping this one up pretty soon. At this point, I would typically talk about the team at hand, but this isn't obviously the Spurs. So I guess at this point, I can chat a little bit more about what I was thinking and discussing earlier in the video, just with the plans over the next, oh my God, Evan Mobley, over the next month plus. We are going to slowly but surely kind of sneak into some of the offseason rebuilds. Just because I do the offseason rebuilds now does not mean I won't do them again in the actual offseason. Once moves are made, signings and trades, once all that fun stuff happens, those rebuilds will be done again. But when I, do, like if I'm going to do a Wizards offseason rebuild within the next 3 to 4 weeks, once they get eliminated from the playoffs, not that they're going to make the playoffs. They have no chance of making the playoffs, but I don't think technically they're eliminated yet. But I wait until, the official eliminations come, and that's when we really start kicking things up. But those off-season rebuilds most of the time are also 5-year rebuilds, and I know more people enjoy those as well. So at this point, I'm just really looking for any other rebuild ideas you guys may have. I've been doing this for a while. Of course, I am very much able to come up with things on my own, but it's really about what you guys want to see right now, because that's what's really important to me, and that's really my biggest goal. So I'll wrap this one up right now. Let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. We pretty much kicked everybody's ass along the way to a championship here. Cade Cunningham, Finals MVP. Well, if there was any doubt that trade, that blockbuster with Detroit last offseason was worth it, I think it is safe to say that it probably was. This one was a lot of fun. About as good of a team as I've put together in one of these rebuilds in a long time. I know it's been like 2+ weeks since I've done one, but genuinely this was one of the more enjoyable rebuilds I've had in recent weeks, and I thought this one was a blast. I thought the team came out really well, and I hope you guys did enjoy. So I know we just discussed it a lot, but seriously, any other video, series, challenges, anything it is you guys want to see, let me hear it all down below in the comment section. Always super appreciative of any of you guys that are able to give me some great video ideas. So looking forward to it, man. Slowly but surely getting back into NBA basketball. I think you guys have seen this one Thursday, so actually the games are back tonight. Actually, they were back last night, but I'm recording this Tuesday, so I haven't seen what happened between the Lakers and the Hornets yet, but that's the one game on Wednesday. Hopefully it was a good one, man. All right, that'll do it. This video's been long enough. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.